Hello, and welcome to Asshole Court, a brand new series in this channel where we peruse the subreddit of r/AITAH, or otherwise known as Am I the Asshole? We're going to read off one of their stories, make a ruling one way or the other, and determine whom the asshole is. So, without further ado, as the Honorable Judge Simpson would say, let us all draw near and attune judgment upon today's resident asshole. All rise for the Honorable Judge Beefy! Let court be now in session! Today's story comes to us from user Specialist Living 778. Thank you for letting me tell your tale, by the way. Let it be known that my rulings are final, and although you may appeal your decision, until a ruling is thereby overturned, judgments shall be final, and assholes shall therein be assholes until otherwise proven innocent. Specialist Living writes, Hi Reddit, long-time lurker here. This is a throwaway, as husband frequents these subreddits. I need some help figuring out whether or not I'm the asshole. Let me start by saying I, 36-year-old female, met my now husband, let's call him John, a 40-year-old male, as I was selling condos for a developer while John was overseeing the actual construction of said development. I'd been working there for years and had a coworker at the time, Anton, who was attractive and very successful. He's still to this day a great friend, and nothing has ever happened between us. In fact, after I broke up with my loser ex-boyfriend, Anton pushed me to date my boyfriend now, John, and was extremely happy for us when we were engaged and then married. After leaving the aforementioned job, Anton asked to partner with me, and we worked closely together for a few years. I ultimately started working with another real estate team, and things have gone well. Flash forward to about a month ago, my husband John goes out after work, he started working for a new company a couple years ago, to a bar with his coworkers. John doesn't communicate that he's going out, and when I messaged him to ask him about dinner, he told me to just go ahead and make it. I did, and he didn't come home until hours later. When I asked him what took him so long, he mentioned his coworker Max needed a ride home. He lives 40 minutes north of where we live, and I know that because we share a location on Life 360. He spends an hour there and comes home around 9:30, saying he'd help Max fix the issue and he was having with his car. I was understandably annoyed, and didn't really buy his story. These guys all make good money. There's no reason if he did have car trouble that he couldn't Uber home. Okay, so we're already seeing some red flags on both sides. First of all, you're telling your husband you're making dinner and he just more or less goes, go ahead and make it? Why not some kind of communication on his end, like, oh, I won't be home for a couple hours, just go ahead and eat without me, I'll figure something out when I get home. Or, oh, you're making dinner? Okay, I'll finish this last beer and be home soon. Just something. He doesn't have to drop his plans immediately just because she's making dinner, but communication is key in, healthy relationships. This is a sign already of perhaps an unbalanced power dynamic. I could be wrong, but one partner altering all of their plans around what another is doing isn't exactly fair or healthy. There should be effort on both sides to make their lives go as smooth as possible, in everything, not just dinner. Then we have the issue with the car. I think it might be presumptuous of her to just assume that just because these guys make good money, that they wouldn't give each other a ride home. That could just be a kind gesture between friends. I'm in between vehicles right now, and I very frequently find myself ordering Ubers to get to and fro. And although I certainly never need a ride home, it is so appreciated when a friend offers to drive me home. I don't always accept it, because I don't want to be a burden, but it just fills my heart when it's offered. It shows that they are not only thinking about me and trying to make my life easier, but they're also willing to take time out of their life to make mine easier. This sounds like there may already be some trust issues going on. If you're questioning something as simple as a ride home, there could be more nuance here than we're privy to. But even so, if you're questioning something as simple as a ride home, it kind of makes me think maybe she's not as trusting as she should be. And he could have done something to deserve that. But either way, we're seeing red flags from both of these parties here. Roll post. So while John was in the shower, I snooped through his phone and found he had a missed call from some girl whose number he'd gotten while at the bar. Her number was saved in his phone. And when I confronted him about it, he gave me some lame-ass excuse. From that moment on, I became suspicious and started checking Life 360 pretty regularly. This week, the day after Valentine's, I noticed he's at the same address he'd been at the night he gave me the excuse about Max having trouble with his car. And I decided I was going to go and see who actually lives there. He spent a little under an hour there and was gone by the time I arrived. I never meant to make any sort of scene, I just wanted to see who lived there, as property records showed an LLC, and I wanted to catch my husband in the web of lies he's been spinning. Again, not one for making any sort of scene. I checked the mailbox, which was by the street, and saw it is actually the home of one of his coworkers, but not Max. It's a female coworker I've met in the past. She is a 40-something divorced Colombian woman, very cute and charismatic. So what the fuck is he doing there in the middle of a workday? Oh boy. Okay, let's take the assumption out of the equation that this man actually is cheating at this point, as we have no definitive evidence, one way or the other. So, given the facts as they are, this man is lying. That is a huge problem. I think we're starting to see why maybe OP was suspicious on the onset regarding Max's car story. I mean, she was ultimately right. She probably has, like, a subconscious bullshit detector for when this man is deceiving her. But either way, whether he's cheating or not, this guy has now lied to his wife about his whereabouts. When he knows that she can see his location, by the way. And he's actually going to see a female coworker who presumably, by all accounts, is attractive and single. Again, whether he's cheated or not is now essentially irrelevant. He's led his wife, intentionally or not, to assume the worst. If he cared about his wife and how his actions may make her feel, he'd be upfront about him going to see this person. As if her piecing all this information together is going to be extremely hurtful. Like, whether he's doing something bad or not, the action of going to see this person and lying about it, that's really gonna fucking hurt her. In a healthy relationship, you consider how your actions may affect your partner. There is absolutely no regard for her in doing this. Whether he's caught in a lie or not, this guy is just off basically living his life as if he's single. Again, more evidence to suggest the power dynamic here is skewed. He's completely ignored how visiting this single woman may affect his wife, and moreover, has made these pathetic attempts at covering it up. Almost as if he either wants to get caught, or assumes because he has so much control over the relationship that it doesn't matter if he does. Alright, roll post. I confronted him, and he's saying absolutely nothing is going on with her. She needed help with some housework, and that I was violating his trust by going through his phone and chasing him down at this woman's house like a stalker. I understand this is toxic behavior, and I guess I'm an asshole for not calling him and asking him where he was, but as I already mentioned, I was suspicious he was lying. And he was. He wants to now compare my relationship with Anton to his relationship with his coworker of 2 years. Oh, the old cheater's Uno reverse card. I'm cheating, but that doesn't matter because you violated my privacy to discover it. This is just the weakest argument that toxic people will use to justify their shitty behavior. Yeah, I hooked up with that girl, but you violated our trust first by going through my phone. Like, no. You cheated, and I proved it. If I went through your phone and nothing was there, then okay, yes, I violated your trust. That's messed up. But validating suspicions that were there because you were doing wrong first is not a violation of trust. You violated the trust by giving me something to suspect in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong, I am in no way saying it's okay to just go through your partner's phone. I think people that do that are typically insecure because of their own bad behavior. Like, if you're gonna cheat, go ahead and cheat. You're basically filtering yourself out of my life for me. I almost detest the lying over the act of cheating itself. Like, if this relationship meant so little to you that you're willing to sacrifice it in the name of one night of fun, it was probably doomed from the onset, like, let's face it. Because you aren't taking it seriously. But cheating and then trying to proceed as if all is normal is like multiple acts of deception. I can almost understand giving into your desires during a single moment of weakness. But covering it up, it's multiple violations of that trust. It's deliberate, like there's intent behind that. Either way, the relationship is over. This man is guilty of the latter, but not necessarily the former. Which, again, I'd argue in some circumstances is worse. I don't know. Let's see what OP has to say in all this. Roll post. So am I the asshole for making assumptions about what is going on and violating my husband's trust? Or am I being gaslit? Okay. So I've spent some time in judge's chambers. Basically just a hole in a tree out in the backyard. And I've come to a verdict. OP, you are not the asshole. Not only do I think your husband has, over what I can only presume to be a number of years, established an unfair power dynamic where you are basically catering and adjusting your life around his as needed, but he's definitely gaslighting you. You know, whether or not he is actually cheating cannot really be gleaned through the information you've provided, but at this point, that's almost irrelevant. He's lied to you, and in a very toxic way. It's one thing to be caught lying about how many beers you drank, or if you ate the last slice of cake, but it's quite another to lie about your whereabouts when seeing an attractive single coworker. Basically, put himself in a situation where any logical person would assume one is cheating. And then, when confronted about said lie, be accused of misgivings yourself. This is toxic manipulation referred to as deflection, and it's a signal you may be dealing with someone who, at the bare minimum, has narcissistic tendencies, but may actually be suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. According to the Happier Human, narcissistic deflection is defined as a form of psychological manipulation. The tactic is generally defined as a psychological defense tool frequently used by narcissists to distract you from their misbehavior. They shift the blame, and in the process towards you or someone else they make their scapegoat. So basically, by shifting the blame onto you by, quote, violating his trust by going on his cell phone, the conversation is no longer about whether or not he's cheating, but rather whether or not you were wrong in discovering it. I mean, look at it. It's working. We're all here discussing whether or not you are the asshole, rather than discussing whether or not this man is cheating. Which, honestly, he probably is. Either way, I would urge you to seek out professional counseling if you think the marriage is worth saving, but take some considerable time to evaluate your stock in this and how being in this marriage is affecting your life. You know, do aspects of your marriage stress you out, make you angry, make you anxious? When thinking about your partner, do you see him lovingly and with passion? Or do thoughts about your husband tend to steer negative or force you into a state of anxiousness? At any rate, you are not the asshole. Was going through his phone toxic? Maybe. If you didn't have evidence to suggest there was something on there to be discovered, or if you hadn't found anything or been led there to begin with, this would be a completely different conversation. But his actions and his deception led you to that cell phone, and were validated when it became apparent your suspicions were confirmed.
Not the asshole!
Alright, well there you have it. That's all we have for you this week, folks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was my ruling right or wrong? Do you think OP's husband is cheating? What advice would you give OP in this situation? Is marriage counseling the right idea, or should she just leave him? I'd love to get some feedback too, and I'm sure OP, if she ends up finding this video, would too. So, either way, thank you for watching. This video does well. Maybe I'll do some more asshole court videos. This was a lot of fun. But until then, until next time, stay safe, value your loved ones, and be sure to hit like and subscribe on your way out. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye now!